It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Call us on your cell phone.
Culinary Hotline Bling.
That can only mean one thing. Hey, let's get it, let's get it. Yes, it's that time of this week. The Culinary Hotline Bling.
The crazy man is back.
I can't. That was not supposed to happen.
It wasn't supposed to happen.
On
That's
any
cool.
level.
Yeah.
Neil, you're right.
I'm going around yourself. I'm back, baby.
Goed en jy?
That's how much excitement Neil has in his system right now to be back on the Culinary Hotline Bling. Yeah, you know how to call us. 0214309881. We're talking all things Potjie today.
Baby.
One of South Africa's favorite pastimes over the weekend.
Great
We
weather for
love-
it. That's the big
Exactly,
thing.
exactly.
-2 in Bloemfontein, I just heard.
Really?
I hope there's a potjie going on.
Yeah,
Hey, now.
exactly. It makes for that hearty, home-cooked kind
Yeah,
of meal. But
exactly.
let's go back first to the basics, right?
Yeah.
So if you're looking to become a potjie course or potjie cooker, can I call you that?
Yeah.
Potjie cooker.
Potjie cooker.
What are some of the basics you need to know about buying a potjie pot?
I think the
Give us a rundown
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I'll
I
give us
think,
a rundown.
I think,
Gooi.
yeah. When I go potjie, it will be my potjie for my life. So it's going to be my partner. My
Yes,
yes, I say
yes.
You only
Dex.
buy one potjie, that's
Yeah.
it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And
Don't
it-
cheat on your potjie.
Ja. En die deksel moet goed pas.
Yeah,
Jy moet
okay.
nie een koop wat die deksel los is nie, because you
for
need
sure.
one that's deksel is goed.
Yes.
And then the quality, you must just look at the inside, that there's no cracks and stuff, and that it's good quality wat afgerond is en dat ook nie krakies hier is nie.
And that's the thing, like, because like Kochai at home, and in fact I remember also my late grandmother, the potjie that she had, or the potjies she had, there were
Yeah.
like 3 of them,
Yeah.
20, 30 and 50, I don't know.
Yeah.
They were some of the most precious pots that she owned. You don't
Yeah.
just loan them out to anybody.
No, for
They
sure.
really have to be a special friend in order to get your potjie.
You don't
Yeah.
give them to anybody, you clean it yourself, you make your potjie
Yes.
yourself.
Yeah.
It's your potjie.
I would
Nobody
say that
must
you
touch
almost,
it.
every single time you make it, you
Yeah.
almost probably sort of season the inside as
Yeah.
well. So every single time you make it, it's like if you ever see like woks that are like really black.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Every single
yes.
time it's called the seasoning. So every single time they cook in there, it's just like a wipe as opposed to like soap and da-da-da.
Okay.
So it keeps that seasoning on the inside as well, and it sort of transfers from one to the other.
Yeah. One thing that's very prominent on potjies or cast iron pots like that is that there's always a number on them.
Yeah.
I've never known what the numbers mean, except I've known if the number's higher, it's usually heavier. Because I know that when we have to carry it out to the next door neighbors, then you need to get like 4 friends or 3 friends because it has a big number on it.
Yeah.
But what do those numbers actually indicate?
How many people you need to carry it? That's what it means.
Possibly. But what are those numbers really for?
The numbers are for the size of the potjie. So you get those little ning ones on the table, like kleintjies. Those
Yeah.
Hulle is so that is just I think it's a
That's just for
3/4,
show.
like a 3/4.
Yeah.
That's just for showing to put stuff in. Then you get like a number 1 potjie that's for like 2 people.
Yes.
A number 2 potjie, hierso's een, I think.
That's a
for
number?
like 2.
Number
That's for
2.
like 4 to 6 people, and then a 3 potjie is for a groter gesin.
Exactly.
And for your wedding, they will use like a number 13 potjie, or daai een van daai groot
yeah,
wat
yeah.
baie
yeah,
kan
yeah.
dra.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
Like you need like an oar to. You need
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
Wait, why are you rowing your potjie instead of...
man.
You're supposed to stir it, not row.
oh,
Neil.
you've seen them do that before.
All right, we've got a caller from Cape Town. Auntie May from Cape Town.
hello,
Good morning, Auntie May.
how are
Good
you?
morning, kitchen wizards. How are you
I think I can
all?
hear.
Very, very well. Can you guys hear Auntie May?
No, I can't.
Okay,
Shout louder.
Auntie May, we're going to get the sound out here, but you can ask me the question because I can hear you, and then I'll relay it to
Yeah.
our chef. So go ahead, Auntie May. What's your culinary conundrum?
How do I prepare an oxtail stew?
Oh, okay. So since we're focusing on potjies,
Yeah.
let's give you how to prepare an oxtail stew in a potjie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would definitely start off with some good quality oxtail, obviously. Maybe lightly flour it. Give that a good sear in the potjie, and then take that out. And then so you already got all that flavor in the potjie or in your pot, whatever you're cooking it in.
Yes.
In with some really good basic hearty vegetables, it's called like a mirepoix. So your onions, your carrots, your leeks, your celery, some thyme, some garlic, some bay leaf, maybe some vinegar, some red wine if you're so inclined. Reduce that down. Oxtail back in.
Yeah.
And then cover it with just some water or some chicken stock or some beef stock. Let that tick away until you can pull that bone straight out of the oxtail. Cut your vegetables nice and big and chunk as well. I mean, if you've got a carrot like this, keep it whole.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That should make some interesting eating.
Yeah, otherwise they just turn to mush. So keep your vegetables quite hearty.
Yes.
So they can, be really, really soft when you have that oxtail.
Excellent,
Yeah,
excellent.
so I'd
Any
go
more-
down that with like a low sort of braise vibe.
Yeah. The big thing is to om your vleis te braai to get that brown flavor in it, and that for me is the most important thing of a potjie.
The Maillard effect.
Yeah, actually to do that. And what I also do, I also, after I brown the meat, I will put my vegetables in and brown them in that fat
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
And then take them out again and put the meat back, let the meat in, and then I put the
Never
vegetables.
overload it as well.
Yeah.
It starts to boil, so a nice good sear on it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ja, ek wil net sê met altyd na jou potjie luister. If it bubbles,
Yes.
there's too much water in there, then you have to take your
Lid
lid
off,
off.
let
Jy
it-
moet dit moet simmer.
Ja.
Dit moet simmer, jy moet luister.
So I have witnessed two very different ways of cooking meat in a potjie,
Yeah.
and almost like the same kind of meat. Back home, my uncles would just lace it with oil, and then by the time the meat goes in, it's
Deep
just
fryer.
you know what I mean? And then recently, I encountered a lady who allows the meat to cook in its own fat. So she'd
Yeah.
go dry potjie
Yeah.
on the fire, heats it up, then you get it in there, and the meat cooks in its own
Yes.
flavors.
Yeah.
Is it a different style of cooking, or is there a definite correct way of doing it?
I don't think there's a correct way of doing it. I think it's just a different style. I mean, if you like it that way, then rock it. You know, what I mean,
Yeah.
if that's your style, then go for it.
Yeah.
And depending
Yeah.
on what sort of cut you're using as well, some are fattier than others.
Yeah.
You might need to do a bit of a
Okay.
sort of skimming. But I mean, if that's your style, then
Yeah, I also want to say that ek sny gewoonlik van die vet af. I cut the fat, most of the fat off, especially with lamb.
Yeah.
Want jy wil ook nou nie 'n potjie hê waar die boonste gedeelte net 'n laag vet lê
Ja,
eventually.
Yes,
that off.
exactly.
Yeah. So and remember, a potjie is your recipe. You can take any recipe and you can bietjie verander. It's not like a strict recipe.
Yeah.
You need to live it and work with it
Yeah.
and have a relationship with it.
You know,
while you're cooking.
for wine drinkers out there, they say there's a saying that goes in vino veritas.
Yeah.
Yes.
In wine lies the truth. I feel also in potjie veritas, because if you watch somebody cooking over a potjie,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
develop like this ego,
Oh, for
like,
sure.
Yes.
like
The thing.
don't touch my
That-
potjie
Yeah.
kind of thing. It's just me
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I'm in control.
And
of
this
the
is my fire.
It brings out their
Yeah.
personality. All right, so when you're cooking a potjie dish over a fire, it can be quite intimidating, especially if you're new to it.
Yeah.
It's all about controlling that temperature inside.
Yeah.
How do you suggest that we best
Yeah.
do that? Make sure that you control the temperature.
I just have a quick peek every now and then, and
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, listen to it, have a look at it. It's also one of those things you're going to be sort of, just sort of be one with the potjie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to
That's
manage
my
the
sort of-
fire as well.
Yes, you
right?
must make a fire, guys,
Yeah,
and
it's,
that's a good time to make a fire because you're going to sit for about 4 hours around this
Yeah.
thing with your friends.
Have a book or something.
Lekker in 'n lekker vuur, né?
A thick one.
And then you take the coals and put it around here. So as the coals, soos die kole nou doodgaan as hy daai, you put another coal in, you know.
So you don't go direct fire.
No.
Don't do that.
Would you ever put it on top?
Yes, when I bake the
Yeah.
bread, you
Yeah.
put it on
What?
top.
Yeah, coals on top, man.
Yeah.
It turns into, it like really sort of resonates, turns your potjie into like a proper oven.
Yes. Yes. So you don't put fire here. It's
Yeah.
just the fire is there. So it's just a few coals underneath here. And onthou dit must simmer, it mustn't bubble.
Yes,
Onthou dit
yes.
moet simmer.
You just wanted to hear go,
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
And keep yourself busy met 'n voorbroodjie noem hulle dit, like a pre-bread, like a nice baked bread with 'n bietjie apricot jam on with your wine or something. Just that, want this is going to take 4 hours, guys.
Yeah,
Jy gaan
yeah.
honger wees.
You know what I love about this? Like nobody else in the world does it like we do.
that's-
Like
it's
not in
proper South
America,
African,
nowhere do they
yeah.
have potjie. This is proper South African
Yeah.
stuff. Anyway, we're going to keep our lines open. 021-430-9881. And we'll be back again with the culinary hotline bling. Ting, ting, ting.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Call us on your cell phone. Culinary Hotline Bling.
That can only mean one thing, a thing, a thing, a thing. Welcome back to the Culinary Hotline Bling. Sing, sing, sing. Give us a call on 021-430-9881. We're answering all your potjie related questions. I was actually checking the Twitterverse.
There's not much room left in that bowl.
Oh my word, Neil. Under
Classic.
our hashtag Espresso Show
Yeah.
on Twitter, Spider-Man
getting
says,
some love.
how to make an oxtail pot secret is not to stir with any potty.
yes.
It's a slow process.
Yeah.
Would you
Yes.
agree with that?
I'd agree with that. I wouldn't say, I would stir mine occasionally. I'm not too
Yeah.
sold on not stirring it at all.
Okay.
But if you're going to follow that process, definitely start with like your harder vegetables and the harder.
We'll actually get to
stuff
that
that's
right
more
now
rugged.
because a lot of people have the trouble of having soggy vegetables, soggy
Yeah.
bottoms, and we don't like soggy bottoms.
No.
Let's look at this question quickly. Where, when it comes to cooking with a potjie,
Yeah.
people assume that it's hours, and you were talking about 4 hours earlier
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Take time, but is it necessarily the case,
Yeah.
or does it depend on what you're cooking? I would assume
sure.
that a chicken is a much easier meat to cook than something
Yeah.
like,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
you know, knuckle.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, even like if you can imagine a fish, you can do a fish one as well.
Yeah.
And then you really just wanna start with your base. So you want to get your base really nice and rich and thick, and then right at the end, pop your fish in through there. That's going to take 10 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
To cook the fish in there, steam, boom.
Is there a kind of a definitive guide that we could establish saying, okay, fine, fish is this kind of minute cooking or hour cooking, chicken is this, and then when it comes to the red meat, this is how it progresses?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah, I think your tougher cuts like sis, the oxtail and stuff like that, and necks. It all depends on the cut. Like the necks and the shins and stuff takes much longer. As die bout sê net maar van die skaapbout of iets soos daai.
Yeah.
So I will go for about 3.5 to 4 hours. I will cook this first for 2 hours on its own to soften.
Yeah.
Saggies. Onthou jy moet jy ietsie in jou hand hê en vriende en 'n lekker
I
vuur
mean,
en
she's eating 4
kuier.
loaves of bread with apricot jam before she eats the...
Ja, met 'n voorbroodjie. Ja. Wow. And then you must look at it. You must bond with your
Yeah,
pot.
no,
Jy
you-
moet
yeah,
kyk en
wonderful,
look.
yeah.
And listen.
Listen
Yeah,
to
listen
it.
to it.
Yeah. Not brrr,
Yeah.
moral.
We don't-
And then I would feel it, and if it's still very, very tough, another half an hour, and then only put the veg for another half an hour. So it's about 3.5, 4 hours for
Yeah,
beers.
Yeah.
Lamb can you bietjie minder. Lamb, if
Yeah,
you've got
yeah,
a good
a
cut of
bit
lamb,
less.
will be a bit less.
Uh-huh.
Chicken probably about an hour,
Yeah.
hour or so.
Down a bit, yeah.
And then fish,
Always,
as you
always
said.
on the bone, the chicken.
Okay,
on the bone.
always on the bone.
Yeah.
Listen, I love the smell of a fire.
Who doesn't?
Are you
Yeah,
getting
no,
that
no.
right now? We have a caller on the line. Good morning, who am I speaking
Yay.
to?
Hello, it's Frank.
Hello,
Hello.
Frank. Thanks for calling the culinary hotline playing.
Ting, ting, ting.
That was just for you. Go ahead.
When I do my potjie, I put my meat into the pot. I do I do the onions and meat, with my garlic and my spices.
Yes.
Let that cook until it's already starting to get soft. And
Yeah.
then I put my veggies in.
Yes.
Once I've got my veggies in, that pot gets closed
Yes.
and gets left until it's ready to serve.
Ah, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
That way your veggies tend to keep their own flavor.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it doesn't mix if you don't get a stew flavor as such.
Exactly.
Cool,
Okay.
cool, nice, nice.
Frank, can I ask? I think everyone out there who's a professional poikist has their own
Poikiagan.
has their own secret ingredient of how they make their. It could be anyone's
Yeah.
oxtail, but it's your particular oxtail
Yeah.
secret. What is your secret if you are freely giving it?
Well, if I'm doing a oxtail potjie,
Yeah.
I like using old brown sherry.
Hey.
In the food or?
Wine, because it gives it that sweeter taste
Yes.
and it becomes a lot more gooey. It
Yeah,
becomes
nice, we like it.
Oh, fantastic.
We like that a lot.
Frank,
Yes.
thanks so much for
Yeah.
that.
Very
Thanks for
nice.
sharing your secret with us. So when it comes to the vegetables, like Frank,
Yeah.
is it about adding the vegetables last so that they don't
Yeah.
become mushy and cook away? Is that the secret?
Yeah, it is. Well, that's a way of doing it. It depends on what vegetables you're cooking. Obviously, the potatoes are going to take longer than the baby marrow
Yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah.
So you need to sort of think of it in that way as well.
So what I normally do, so my meat is done, it doesn't matter what meat it is, or it is amper gaar.
Yeah.
Then I first take the potatoes, and what I like to do is put the potatoes between the meat. I push it in a bit.
Oh,
So
okay.
it actually absorbs some of the flavor of the meat, and then I cook that a bit. And then I'll only add the carrot. And then if you look at that, lastly, the baby marrows and the mushroom, because they're going to take quickly.
Yeah.
Too.
And then you can sort of steam them on top and
Yeah.
it just comes like a sort of pull through.
Now, during the potjie cooking process, disaster can strike.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you get to the point where your meat is nearly cooked, vegetables are nearly cooked, but then it's all watery, okay? It's not the sauce you were hoping for, and then
Yeah.
you get mama saying, hey, and then they give the child 20 rand, they have to sprint to the shop to buy a soup mix instant, and then you have to tear it, put it in there to thicken up the sauce. Okay, all right. We don't want to do that. We want
Not
to do
so
it
much.
as naturally as possible to get as much
Yeah.
of the flavor as possible. So what's the best way to thicken
Yeah.
up your sauce if it's not as thick as you like it?
I will firstly open
yeah.
the pot, okay?
Okay.
And then I'll firstly just try and get rid of some of the watery naturally.
Yes.
But then what
Reduce.
you can, let it
And then
reduce.
when you reduce it, you're enhancing the flavor as well.
Yes. But if
Yeah.
it's still too much or it's still too watery, mix. What I do is I just take flour and butter and ek maak dit 'n frummel daarvan.
Yeah.
And I mix it in on
Called
the
a
side.
beurre manier if you want to be
Yeah.
funny and funky about it.
Yeah. Listen to the chef.
beurre manier.
Beurre manier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beer manier.
What is a beurre manier?
Flour and butter mixed
Flour and
together
butter,
like that.
simple as
Just
that.
bang.
All right, so
Yeah.
don't send little Johnny running to the
Yeah.
Soup mix.
spaza shop there.
But there's lots of disasters that normally happens. It
Yeah.
normally burns a
Yeah.
lot of time. Weet jy al 'n gebrande pot geëet?
No, I haven't.
You
I
don't
know
want
that
to.
Usually when you make like ding or
Yeah.
pap in it, there can be a
Yeah.
crust remaining
Yeah,
at
which
the
is
bottom.
quite nice, no?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need that for
Maar as jy
good
'n
flavor.
pot gebrand het, sê ek altyd just go to the movies and go and eat some popcorn en gooi die pot weg.
All right, a very
More
important
bread and
question
apricot
though.
jam. Boom.
We love our potjies. We
Yeah.
want to keep them in good condition for as long as possible. Talk to me first about the best way to clean a potjie and then to store it so that it doesn't rust, because some of them
Yeah.
rust and then after a while it becomes unpleasant to use it. So let's talk about cleaning first.
I think what you first get, you get like when you buy a pot these days, they will give you instructions. Dit is die groot ding wat jy moet na
Throw that
kyk.
away first of all. No one reads the manual.
But what I do with my potjie is I wash it with a bit of warm soapy water
Yeah.
and rinse it, and then I put it back on the heat sodat hy droog raak,
Yeah.
heeltemal
Okay,
droog
okay,
raak.
okay.
En die deksel ook. You don't have to wash the outsides, but just the inside, and let
Okay.
it dry properly.
Yes.
I don't put any oil in afterwards because oil can get galsterig of wat
Yeah,
ook al.
it can.
I just put a newspaper inside there and that's
Hey,
it.
hey, this was me with the on the Sunday after the funeral or the wedding. This was me with a newspaper,
Yeah.
fish oil, sunflower oil, just keep them nice and shiny for presentation.
Lube it up, man.
Lube it up, yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Neil? Is that
Yeah,
what
that's
would
what
you?
I wouldn't put it in the dishwasher.
No, you don't put it.
Might be the next industrial kind
Yeah.
of commercial success.
No. If I'm not saying yet. I mean, I would lightly brush it with a little bit of oil.
Yeah.
Just to keep
Yeah.
it. You almost want to keep it like lubricated. Yeah. So
Yes.
it just sort of doesn't dry out and
Yeah.
it can just.
But just wash it if you put oil and wash it again before you use
Before
it. But
you
use it.
that oil can have a horrible taste.
Yeah.
Can, yeah. You
Yeah.
wanna,
Guys, you have been absolutely fantastic. I've
Dankie.
enjoyed this week's edition. Thanks for all of our callers who contributed and even to
Yeah.
those who shared
Thanks,
their
guys.
potjie secrets as well. We'll catch you again next week on the Culinary Hotline Bling! Sing, sing, sing!